Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning. How are we today, guys?
Good morning, Jenny. I am great. Got a great night rest, and you know what's going to happen to you, Skip.
All I know for sure is after this Michael Jordan documentary has concluded, Mr. Sharp, you are going to have to permanently retire your LeBron GOAT mask or maybe just sell it on eBay. I don't know. Maybe you can make a couple bucks.
You know what? You know what, Skip, now that I think about it, I stayed up all last night. I was gambling and everything and watched this virtuoso performance I put on you today.
Good.
That's what I'm going to do.
Jordan mask.
Okay. Keep the GOAT mask aside for right now because we've had a lot of GOAT talk on this show lately, and that is because of Michael Jordan and the incredible documentary we have been watching, and that is where we start today. We're just over halfway through the Last Dance docuseries, and we have heard story after story about how competitive Michael Jordan is and how many all-time greats consider him the GOAT. So, Shannon, through 6 episodes, how much has The Last Dance hurt LeBron's GOAT case?
For me, it's hurt it none. LeBron's resume has not changed. What they've done is that they packaged this footage of Michael Jordan over 15 years and is showing you behind the scenes. These games were played. Now, I don't know if everybody was old enough to be able to watch them. I don't know if people remember them or not, but nothing has changed. These are they're showing highlights. You remember they talked about the Knicks, how the Knicks, the last time they played the Knicks, they went down 2-0. And then they said game 3, they made it seem like Jordan had a virtuoso. Jordan was like 6 of 18. They won the game without him having an outstanding performance. So for me, nothing has changed in my mind. This is a compilation of behind-the-scene footage of Michael Jordan and The Last Dance. Obviously, they caught some footage of when he first got into the NBA and all that other stuff. But for me, Skip, the biggest thing is seeing all this, how he got started with Jordan and how his mom made a grown man take a trip, say you're going to hear them out, this presentation that Nike was going to present. His dad saying, son, you'd be a fool not to take this deal. Seeing all those things, I saw every game, basically, especially what they showed, what they're showing, these playoff games, I saw every one of them. I'm old enough to remember Michael Jordan from the 82 shot against Georgetown in New Orleans to all the way to the final shot and when he held the poles. I remember that. I also remember those 2 years. They didn't have anything about those 2 years in Washington, Jenny, but that's neither here nor there. For me, nothing has changed. Jordan cannot add anything else to his resume. LeBron James is still compiling his resume. So for me, it has not hurt LeBron's chances. For me, LeBron is the GOAT, and there's nothing he can do to hurt his chances.
So, obviously, for me, this quote-unquote GOAT debate was over before it started. I was there in 1998 as the columnist for the Chicago Tribune and got to see The Last Dance from the inside out. And for that matter, I was there that night in 1982 in April when I watched Michael Jordan, or as he was known then, Mike Jordan, this freshman for North Carolina, hit the last shot that launched his career as a college player. And for me, having watched nearly every game via TV that LeBron James has ever played in the National Basketball Association, I can tell you it's just not even close. But I've been telling you that for years here on Undisputed. So now, just from the sheer force of the highlights, the video highlights, the game highlights that we have been, quote unquote, forced to watch for much of 6 hours of this documentary, all of them just hitting younger viewers right between the eyes. Wow, the moves, the launch, the acrobatics, the left-handed, right-handed, the jump shooting, greatest jump shooting from mid-range you've ever seen in the history of this league. The tenacity, the force of will, the killer mentality, the attack mode. You're getting to see it just relentlessly over and over and over again. And I would think it has crushed the resolve of even the staunchest holdouts of LeBron James. The last line of defenders and believers and idolaters. I think even the younger LeBron lovers, the blindest witnesses of all, have had to sit back at some point during these first 6 hours and say, ugh. They were right all along. Jordan's just better than our guy, LeBron. We still love him, but Jordan was just better. And then Shannon, the fallout, the negativity directed toward LeBron, inspired by the documentary, has been relentlessly, crushingly overwhelming. Because just last week, we had two of LeBron's former coaches, Mike Malone, who coached him for 5 years as an assistant coach, his first go-around in Cleveland, who sat courtside in an assistant coach's seat and watched the meltdowns against Orlando in the playoffs and then against Boston his last go-around, the first time around in Cleveland, when he just disappeared in games 4, 5, and 6. Mike Malone said that on killer mentality alone, Jordan is just on another level from LeBron. And then we had his head coach for about a year and a half in Cleveland, David Blatt, his second go-around, say that it was just so much more impressive that Jordan stayed put. He won 6 for 6 championships with 6 MVPs in the finals, all in Chicago. And furthermore, Jordan was about us while he implied that LeBron was about I. I've said that from the start. And then we had Magic. We had Magic Johnson during the documentary the other night just saying flat out, Jordan's the GOAT. And then we had Charles Barkley on ESPN, on SportsCenter, right after the documentary saying he's just the greatest player ever played. And so Charles was saying there's no shame in me losing to him in that 93 finals, Phoenix versus Chicago, because he's just the greatest player ever played. And then we had Larry Bird, we got to see him the other night, say after 49 and 63 points scored against the Celtics, it was God disguised as Michael Jordan. And then we saw the Dream Team, that showdown, that inter-squad game. It's the greatest collection of talent ever on one floor, and they were going at it. It was for pride and for blood. And the guy who took the game over after Magic dared to insult him and call him out was Michael Jordan. And they all said he's just too good. And then we had Dennis Rodman last week saying, I could have shut him down. His game is simple. He doesn't have any moves, LeBron James. Wow, yeah. Really? Yeah. Interesting. And then we got to see Kobe the other night. What's that?
Like Dennis shut down Larry Bird when he dropped 37, 8, and 8. Larry Bird is less athletic than LeBron James. Okay. Just saying.
Okay. Well, that's a nice try. And then we got Kobe the other night on the documentary in one of his last interviews before he passed, saying that he gets offended when fans say, oh, you could have taken Michael one-on-one. And he said, what you get from me is from him. Like, I'm all him. He made me. He sort of guided me into that I am now. And then we had John Sally the other night saying, yeah, we had to come up with the Jordan rules because Jordan just wasn't human. He just wasn't human. And on and on. I don't know. I could keep going, Shannon, but I feel like I'm just piling on because it's just one commentary after another. Coaches, rivals, great players. Everybody is saying he is the GOAT, and I don't know what argument you really have left.
Well, let me start with one. You said that David Blatt implied that LeBron James was about self and not about team. Now, I love how you're taking implications now, because when it was implied that Michael Jordan didn't want Isaiah on the team, you said hogwash. Now, even though it wasn't explicitly stated, it was implicitly implied, but you want nothing to do with that. All those guys. Now, you hear every guy talking about nobody wanted to play with Isaiah. Nobody wanted Isaiah. Nobody liked Isaiah. But these very same guys, all 11 of the NBA All-Star says, the Dream Team says, it doesn't matter if you like a player or not. The only thing that matters is if you're going for the common goal. So for this situation, it mattered if I like Isaiah, because the common goal didn't matter. It only mattered that we didn't like Isaiah, because it's hard for me to believe, of all these championships that's been won, that all teammates got along like the Dream Team did without Isaiah. Now, that's the implication that I got, but since you like implications, Skip Bayless, you know, for me, having seen both guys play, there are certain things you got to see with your own eyes. You know, watching NASCAR is one thing, but when you go watch it in person, to actually see how close these cars actually are, and to see they're going 180, 190 miles an hour. So imagine getting on the 405, just that wide, and you got 42 cars, and they're going 180 miles an hour, and I can reach out and touch the other guy. That's what you have to witness. Seeing LeBron on TV doesn't do him justice. You got to see the man in person. Skip, how much money do you think the USA spends on spying and intelligence on, say, let's see, Cameroon or Tunisia or Djibouti? Now, how much do you think we spend on intelligence on Russia, North Korea, China? Because they're threats. That's why Jordan fans are coming after LeBron James. That's why everybody's trying to take their pounds of flesh. They view this man as a threat. If they didn't, it wouldn't bother. Nobody takes shots at Larry Bird. Nobody takes shots at Magic Johnson. Nobody takes shots at Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Russell, Harden, Kobe. Only GOAT James, because they view him as a threat. You only try to suppress threats. You don't try to suppress the man that you know you better than, and everybody know you better than.